Mythology versus religion. From the moment human consciousness turned back upon itself, one tension became inevitable. Reality was too vast to be grasped directly. Something always overflowed the frame. Before doctrines, before institutions, before moral systems, there was an encounter with mystery. Out of this encounter were born two distinct responses that modern thought insists on confusing: mythology and religion. They are not the same thing. They never were, and failing to see the difference is one of the great blind spots of contemporary culture. Mythology does not begin as belief. It begins as perception. It is the mind recognizing patterns in forces it cannot yet name. When early humans spoke of gods, monsters, heavens, and underworlds, they were not reporting events in the journalistic sense. They were translating experiences that exceeded literal language. Myth is not a claim about facts. It is a symbolic mapping of reality as process. Religion, by contrast, emerges when these symbolic maps are stabilized, moralized, and anchored in collective identity. One explores meaning, the other organizes behavior. This distinction is subtle, and precisely for that reason it has been lost. Mythology operates in the realm of symbol. A symbol does not point to itself. It points beyond itself, toward something that cannot be directly shown. When mythology speaks of creation, it is not describing a historical moment in time. It is expressing the perpetual emergence of order from chaos. When it speaks of gods descending or ascending, it is not narrating physical movement, but shifts in states of consciousness, power, perception, or psychic orientation. Myth is a language of depth. It speaks vertically, not horizontally. Religion, on the other hand, speaks horizontally. It translates symbolic insight into social continuity. It defines what is allowed, forbidden, sacred, or profane. It answers not what is reality, but how shall we live together? This is not a flaw. It is a function. But problems arise when religion forgets that its roots are symbolic and begins to treat mythic language as literal description. At that moment, the map declares itself to be the territory. This is where confusion hardens into dogma. In mythology, gods are not beings competing for worship. They are principles, forces, archetypal functions that structure experience. Chaos is not evil. It is the undifferentiated field from which all forms arise. Order is not virtue. It is the stabilization of pattern. Death is not punishment. It is transformation. Time is not a line. It is a cycle, a spiral, a rhythm. Mythology understands that reality moves. Religion, once institutionalized, seeks to fix what mythology leaves fluid. When myth is read literally, it collapses. What was once a living symbol becomes a fragile belief. What was once a tool for insight becomes a boundary that must be defended. The gods shrink. The stories lose depth, and the mystery they were meant to protect is replaced by certainty. This is the moment when mythology is mistaken for superstition and religion for truth, when in fact both have lost their original orientation. The modern world reacted to this collapse by rejecting myth altogether. Science rose as a necessary corrective, insisting on evidence, measurement, and repeatability. This was not a war against mythology itself, but against literalism. However, in rejecting the abuse of myth, modernity also discarded its symbolic intelligence. The result is a culture rich in data and poor in meaning. We can explain mechanisms, but not significance. We can describe processes, but not purpose. The vacuum returns. And into that vacuum, old confusions rush back. Today, the debate framed as mythology versus religion is not truly about ancient stories or sacred texts. It is about symbolic literacy. Most people no longer know how to read a symbol. They oscillate between naive belief and total dismissal. Either a myth is historically true, or it is worthless. Either a religious narrative happened exactly as written, or it is a lie. This binary thinking is itself a symptom of symbolic illiteracy. Mythology never asked to be believed. It asked to be seen through. Religion, at its healthiest, understood this. In its earliest forms, ritual was not about enforcing belief, but about aligning the individual with cosmic patterns. Time, seasons, death, rebirth, and transformation were enacted, not explained. Over centuries, as power structures formed, symbols hardened into doctrines. What was once a language of experience became a system of obedience. The mystery was no longer something to be approached, but something to be guarded. Here lies the hidden fracture. Mythology speaks to the psyche directly. It bypasses argument. It does not convince, it reveals. That is why myths appear again and again across cultures, wearing different names but expressing the same structures. The hero's descent, the dying god, the trickster, the world tree, the flood, the cosmic egg. These are not borrowed ideas. They are recurring patterns of human experience translated into image. Mythology is universal because the psyche is universal. Religion, by contrast, localizes meaning. It binds symbols to a specific people, place, and moral code. Again, this is not inherently wrong. Communities require cohesion. But when religion forgets its symbolic origin, it begins to compete with mythology instead of arising from it. It claims exclusivity where myth offered plurality. It claims final answers where myth offered orientation. This is why mythology survives the collapse of religions. When belief systems fall, myths remain. They retreat into literature, psychology, art, and dreams. They change masks, but not structure. You can ban a religion. You cannot eradicate a myth. It lives where control cannot reach. The phrase mythology versus religion therefore hides a deeper truth. The real conflict is not between myth and religion, but between symbolic understanding and literal thinking. When symbols are read symbolically, mythology and religion are allies. When symbols are read literally, both become distorted. One dismissed as fiction, the other weaponized as dogma. What is not seen by profane eyes is this. Myths were never meant to end in belief. They were meant to end in perception. The image is a doorway, not a destination. Once the function is understood, the image dissolves. That dissolution is not loss, it is maturation. This is why ancient traditions warned against idolatry. An idol is not merely a statue. It is any symbol mistaken for the reality it points toward. When a god becomes a character instead of a principle, idolatry has already occurred. When a myth becomes a historical report instead of a symbolic map, its power is gone. Religion, at its deepest level, was meant to protect this insight. Mythology was meant to reveal it. Both fail when the symbol is frozen. The modern resurgence of interest in mythology is not nostalgia. It is a response to a crisis of meaning. People sense that something essential was lost when myths were reduced to fairy tales and religions to belief systems. They are searching not for new gods to worship, but for new ways to see. This is why symbolic mythology is returning, not as entertainment, but as orientation. Those with eyes will notice that mythology never answers questions directly. It reshapes the one who asks. Religion, when healthy, does the same. When unhealthy, it replaces transformation with compliance. Mythology invites dissent. Religion often demands assent without understanding what lies below. In the end, mythology and religion are not enemies. They are phases of the same human attempt to live in contact with mystery. Mythology speaks first, in images. Religion organizes what remains. When either forgets its place, confusion follows. The hidden truth is simple and difficult. Reality does not need to be believed. It needs to be perceived. Symbols are lenses, not walls. Myths are mirrors, not explanations. Religions are containers, not the contents themselves. When this is seen, the false conflict dissolves. Mythology no longer competes with religion. Religion no longer fears mythology. Both return to their proper function, mediating the relationship between human consciousness and a reality too vast to be reduced to words. And at that point, no argument is necessary. What can be shown has been shown. What can be seen will be seen.